It was the turn heard around the world. That final John turn sure was pretty sick. Now, I'm not going to lie. That finals format, it's intense. Imagine going a whole season. Well, actually, you know what? What does the NFL do? What does the World Cup do? These other sports actually do just what the WSL did, which is pretty interesting because I never thought of it like that until just now. But it is quite crazy how in a sport where there are so many different breaks, so many different kinds of waves to surf, that it comes down to this final event. That really the whole year has been building up to. And it didn't always used to be like this. That's what's kind of crazy. It is a bit controversial because people aren't sure what to think about this. They don't know if this finals day is actually working or not. Now, I think luckily, John won. I'm not going to get into too much about what I think, but the person who was in the lead did win the event. I think Caity Simmers was up there as well, but and I got to shout out if Aaron Brooks was in this. Love you, Caity, but Aaron would have been aiming because think about the event Aaron Brooks was in. She beat everyone. Now Caity is awesome, so again, now I'll just have to. When that happens, it'll happen, and we'll see what happens there. But it is crazy. It all comes down to this final day. And again, I never thought about this until just now, but every other sport does it like this. Every other sport, you get to the playoffs, you play, and it doesn't really matter how good you did all year. The playoffs and the Super Bowl are all that matters. So when you look at it like that, it does make a lot of sense. But I think as surfers, and as you follow it that whole year, it's just a hard pill to swallow that it could all come down to this one day, this one heat. Now, I think surfing also, a surf park could fix this, but we're slaves essentially to the conditions. And certain surfers are going to be better in certain conditions than others. And I think that's actually a pretty good point to why the only strictly finals day is kind of challenging because, who even knows if there's some biases with where that event is. If you saw the Olympics judges, they have the judges, they have their names, they have where they are from. I don't know if they have a list where the people are from of this event that are judging or not. Another thing that's interesting is, Caity Simmers, this is the youngest women world champion. I'm not sure how old Kelly was when he won, but again, she won and she is the youngest to ever do it as a woman to win. And being only 18 and taking out people, I mean, there might be people twice her age on the tour. That's pretty unbelievable and very cool. And let me just see how my audio is sounding right now. See. Oh, we'll take it. We'll take it. It is hot in SoCal, so I have about 15 fans going. So I apologize if this audio isn't crystally clear, but the Zoom H6 audio recorder does a pretty good job of taking out unwanted noise. Well, let's see. Now, when Italo went against John in that last heat, there was two different types of surfing going on. I mean, I'm going to go as far in saying that I think Italo was somewhat even underscored on a few waves because he's surfing just crazily unbelievable. Now, the heat before that against Griffin, his last backside wave was, I mean, that was like a 9.4 or something. Like he got pretty underscored on that wave. So I was at least happy that he didn't get knocked out on that second to last heat because even though he does, his air and it seems to be kind of repetitive, Sprays are pretty repetitive. So just because the trick is repetitive, you still have to look how hard the trick is. And when he's doing backside air reverses and he's got them on lock like that, yeah, he's doing them all the time, but so are people doing snaps all the time. So, and what's harder, a backside air reverse or a backside snap? I mean, I don't know who's going to say a backside snap is harder. Now, this is where style does come in, and people like Tom Curran would surf a wave a lot different than someone like Italo. So it really is funny how that is kind of why there is a case against this just straight up finals format, because um, when you have people like this have different surfing styles, um, it's going to be difficult to just base the whole who's the world champion on this one couple days at this one spot that might suit a certain surfer more than other. I mean, even Trestles is, a right. The two people that won were both front side. I mean, that's kind of interesting. So if you're on a wave and people are better on front side, it's funny because I think I'm actually better backside. Uh, if I had to serve against myself, front side versus backside, I guess it'd be close, but I do consider myself a pretty good backside surfer. And even my style could be a little better backside. So look at the people that got through the couple of heats. I mean, a lot of them were front side and they were just knocking out goofy footers. So that's a good case to say. Whereas, like when you look at the NFL and there is um, final, the final day of the Super Bowl, um, it's still going to be the same pitch. I mean, I guess you can have weird grass that you slip and slide, which that happened last year or the year before, but it's the control variable in other sports is a lot more controlling. Surfing, unless you're in a surf park, you can't really control anything. Um, so really, I think actually the finals day probably does make the most sense at a thing like Kelly's surf machine, because then you really can't be like, well, he had a better wave than him, because it is the same wave. And you can even have it where if you want to both go front side or backside, there's that option too. So that actually is a great case for surf parks for being this finals day event. Um, yeah, if you guys are watching this after the live, comment below. What do y'all think? I know again, this is very heated in terms of like this finals day thing. And I was pretty against it until I thought about other sports and how they work. And now I don't know what to think. But I think at least in the end, the people that should have won, unless Aaron Brooks was in it. No, I love you, Caitlin Simmers. And again, she's from Oceanside, so she's a San Diego hometown hero. So it's pretty awesome because I do think living in San Diego is an awesome place to be a surfer, and you can really fine tune your skills. You can get better. There's always some waves. If you look at Kelly Slater having to grow up on the East Coast, that's like a whole different thing. So it makes a lot more sense when John who lives in Hawaii, and Caitlin and the other Brazilians win because they have amazing waves all the time. Where on the East Coast, you don't have amazing waves all the time. It's Lake Atlantic all the time. And then once a month or something, you get like what the people out in Hawaii get on a daily basis. So even the upbringing of surfing goes to show who usually wins events like this are people in surf-rich areas. So it's super cool to see someone in San Diego, or even San Diegans might say the waves aren't amazing here, but I have to beg to differ. I think North County, San Diego has some of the best waves in a 5 to 10 mile radius, even longer than that. But there's reefs, there's sands, there's point breaks, there's different swell directions that hit certain areas. So it makes sense that an 18-year-old from this area won, especially now when it's, there's school programs, there's coaching, there's technology to help you become the best surfer. So, all right, guys, just wanted to hop on really quick and give a shout out to the new world champions. Let me know in the comments who you guys thought maybe should have won instead. I'm stoked that John won. I think that he, really, he was in the lead for a while and he had a big lead. And, Italo surfed really good in that finals, and he was pretty amped up, so it's hard to stop that ampness when he's coming in and he's like ready to go. But yeah, so I think overall, I think the real winners is going to be the corniest thing I say in the whole stream is the sport of surfing. It's so easy to be a keyboard warrior and to get on the IG and to get in the YouTube comments and not realize that this is a humongous production with staff, training, coaches, cameras, employees, volunteers, city officials helping. Like the fact that this is still going on, and like I think surfing's growing exponentially with the help of surf parks and the help of the internet and technology. Like we need to appreciate what we have and like be stoked that we are in the limelight and now that we are in the Olympics. Like that's really cool. And like we need to get to a better point of like the surf stoke community wise. I think our sport sometimes suffers from not being like the snowboarders and the skateboarders where there is a lot of community. And I think that just kind of comes from being out in the lineup. You want the wave, this person wants the wave. It's a little more of like a competition every time you surf because it's a limited resource and there's kind of like priorities in the lineup and just rules. Whereas like on other sports, like the first skateboarder goes and then you go behind them. And it's not really like, oh, only one of us can skateboard the rail right now, or only one of us can hit this ski jump or snowboard jump right now. So that kind of creates a little bit of a divide between just individual servers. And I think that this needs to kind of stop. Like you surf, I surf, like that's really cool. So, you know, if you're in the lineup, say hello to people, be friendly, abide by the rules, dudes rules, and just understand that we're really lucky to be able to surf, to be physically able to surf, to have this like ocean that we can go to or surf park or a river and feel the flow that not a lot of people get to feel. Not a lot of people, their lives suck. They don't have any, they barely have a resource or a release like surfing offers. And that's something to be really grateful for. So, all right, guys, rambled on enough, yapping enough. Time to make some Travis turkey tacos. Happy World Champion Day to Caitlin and John. Congrats. Till next time, peace.